Shalom. This week's Sedra is Sedrat Vayishlach. Our Sedra opens with Yaakov approaching Esav to ask him for peace. They had been fighting for years. Yaakov's parents had sent Yaakov away, telling him not to have anything to do with Esav until he felt Esav's anger had cooled down. Feeling that it was the proper time, Yaakov sent messengers ahead of him to his brother Esav, to the land of Seir, the field of Edom. In our times, when peacemakers are king, we should look at Yaakov as the quintessential leader. But then, this wouldn't be much of a Dvar Torah if it was that simple. In his commentary to this episode, the Ramban wrote that our sages were critical of Yaakov for sending messengers to Esav. Yaakov only reached out to Esav to be able to peacefully cross his land on the way back to Eretz Yisrael. The Ramban continued to write that we must never make peace with our enemies. Yaakov should have simply gone through Esav's land. The Jewish people made the same mistake during the Second Temple when they tried to make peace with the Romans. It seems odd that our sages would be so critical of Yaakov for trying to make peace. In fact, the halacha doesn't seem to be as critical of the peacemakers as the Ramban's comments on this episode would suggest. Maimonides wrote, "War, whether waged by choice or in defense, should not be waged against anyone until they are offered the opportunity of peace. As it is written, when you approach a city to wage war against it, you should propose a peaceful settlement." If the enemy accepts the offer of peace and commits itself to the fulfillment of the 7 mitzvot that were commanded to Noach's descendants, none of them should be killed. If they do not agree to a peaceful settlement, or if they agree to a peaceful settlement but refuse to accept the 7 mitzvot, war should be waged against them. All adult males should be killed. Their money and their children should be taken as spoil, but neither women or children should be killed. The above applies to a war fought with other nations. However, if either of the 7 nations or Amalek refuses to accept a peaceful settlement, not one soul of them may be left alive. No offer of peaceful settlement should be made to Ammon and Moab. Our sages declared, although it is written, offer a peaceful settlement, does this apply to Ammon and Moab? The Torah states, do not seek their peace and welfare. Why would the Ramban be so critical of Yaakov for reaching out to Esav to make peace, if we're ideally supposed to search for peace? Why would the halacha say to establish peace with all nations, but to never try with Ammon and Moab? True and lasting peace can only be established with those who share our values. If 2 nations' values differ, they can't make peace, for it will never last. Their values will at some point clash, and the peace will shatter. Yaakov and Esav's values were so different. Esav was always looking for the next pleasure. Yaakov was a man of study. Their values would never come together. The same is true of Ammon and Moab. They had such different values than the Jewish people that they could never be trusted for a true peace. The attempted peace deal between the Jews and the Romans was doomed because of the same idea. The Jewish people can only make peace with those who come to share their values, for that's the only way that true peace could ever be accomplished. Shalom.